Now, page 4, the impossible reopening of blue state societies. The governor of California and the governor of New York may be about 3,000 miles apart, but their radical ideologies are fused together like stink on rotting fish. In fact, if you listen closely to the West Coast Marxist socialist, he sounds a lot like the East Coast radical. Yes, Gavin Newsom and Andrew Cuomo are even borrowing each other's terminology and phony protocols for the reopening of their respective states. Newsom on the left coast is clearly the brains of the operation. Cuomo is just a useful idiot on the right coast. Together, though, along with junior but just as dangerous ideologues in Illinois, Virginia, Colorado, Washington, Oregon, these partisan governors control fully 1/3 of the United States gross domestic product. And they are exchanging notes, don't you know, on how impossibly high to raise the bar in order to hurdle their economic catastrophe, which has been imposed by them on the people of their states. Newsom is leading this pack of anti-constitutional wolves with ridiculous requirements like not reopening fully until the discovery of a vaccine. And while scientists are full throttle right now researching and testing for a vaccine for the Wuhan coronavirus, the reality is it's going to take time, as in more than a year at least. That is, if we discover a vaccine at all, there's a decent to good chance that mankind will never come up with a vaccine for this virus. Okay, then what, Governor? Newsom has already said no concerts, no baseball, no large gatherings until he says so. But remember the reason, ostensibly, for all this social distancing and massive self-imposed house arrest. What was the reason? It wasn't simply to block the spread of the virus. No, the goal was to not overwhelm the hospitals. Remember that? Well, guess what? Hospitals have not been overwhelmed. What's more, the number of cases did not go to zero, as the modeling had suggested when we sheltered. In other words, the virus is running its course and will continue to infect its way through our society, whether we social distance and lock ourselves up or not. The truth is, there is not a shred of evidence that these governors can produce that can definitively confirm anything that they have done. The house arrest, the shutdown of businesses, the mask mandate, and so on. Anything they have done to halt the spread of the Wuhan coronavirus. There is no evidence whatsoever that these extreme draconian mitigation measures have changed the natural progression of nature. But of course, these governors are not going to admit that. These radicals are not going to share with the public the truth about the latest testing. And it's this: in Los Angeles, upwards of 6% of the population has the Wuhan coronavirus antibodies, which is about 600,000 people. This means that more than 500,000 people have been infected with the virus. That's about 75 times the reported confirmed infections in Los Angeles, which means the mortality rate drops way, way down. In fact, it puts the mortality rate in Los Angeles at, are you sitting down? 0.001. Ladies and gentlemen, that's lower than the seasonal flu. And if we adjust for the overdiagnosis of the Wuhan virus and the recklessly liberal use of labeling death by corona, then maybe the number of dead is cut in half, and that would be 0.0005. So instead of telling people the truth, these blue state governors continue their economically devastating political games for the purpose of affecting the outcome of the November election. They keep shifting the virus metrics for the reopening of their societies, which makes doing so virtually impossible. Meantime, in Congress, this shelter-in-place stuff is giving radical ideologues like Ilhan Omar plenty of time to develop new and completely anti-constitutional efforts to transform government into one massive nanny state.
families will lose their homes and the housing market will suffer a huge damage.
Stop tape. First of all, inanimate objects cannot suffer, Congresswoman. Only people and animals suffer, something that's been drilled into my head since I was in my 20s, all right? So a housing market can't suffer. It can sustain a heck of a lot of damage because of government, which you are a member of. Why are these people not being able to pay their mortgages? Why are people not able to pay their rents? It's because of the government response to a virus. It's not because of the virus. And this drives me nuts. I hear it in the mainstream media all the time. Oh, it's because of the virus the economy is tanking. No. We'd be living our lives with the virus all around us if the governors didn't respond the way they did and the draconian measures that have been taken in some, virtually all of the blue states and some of the red states. The economy is sustaining massive damage, unprecedented damage, because of the government response. And now, here you have Ilhan Omar and the rest of them with government to the rescue. She wants to proffer some sort of legislation that is a rent-free month or year. Wants to basically federalize paying rent and paying mortgages in this country. See, this is classic. This is classic Marxist socialism. This is what Barack Obama did with Obamacare. He created a problem in Obamacare that didn't exist. There really was no problem with our health care system. Yeah, there were 10, 20 million Americans who didn't have health insurance coverage in a country of 330 million? That's a relatively low percentage. Yet we upended our entire healthcare system for that 10 to 20 million. So he creates a problem, and then he has this solution already ready to go, which was Obamacare. Same thing with Ilhan Omar and this rent holiday. She's ready to go to federalize paying mortgages, to federalize paying rent because of the government reaction to the Wuhan coronavirus. This is classic Marxist socialism. This is classic Saul Alinsky. This is what they do in a society that is not free. They grow the size and scope of government, creating a larger and larger nanny state. And they are using redistribution of wealth in order to accomplish this. Instead of allowing the free markets to reign supreme, I fear that coming out of the Wuhan coronavirus tunnel is going to mean more and more layers of government, federal, state, and local levels. Instead of allowing the free market to create its own redistribution of wealth. That's what we do as Americans in a free market. We redistribute wealth by going to the grocery store and paying rent and what have you. That's the natural occurring redistribution of wealth that this country was founded upon. Hopefully we'll return to it. So here's the question. Between this maniac and her colleagues spending trillions of dollars that we do not have, paying for programs and services that we do not need, along with these blue state governors confiscating constitutional rights at every turn, how much of all of this is permanent? How much of the anti-liberty big government response to the Wuhan coronavirus is here to stay?
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One America News on YouTube, and call your cable provider and kindly demand that One America News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.